When I was a child, my mother liked to occasionally make breakfast foods for dinner. I distinctly remember one evening, after she had finished a long day of hard work, the kitchen was filled with the delicious aroma of golden fried eggs and fragrant sausages. However, there was one item that captured all my attention, a plate of toast that was slightly burnt. My mother placed a plate of dinner in front of my father, and I waited to see if anyone would notice, but my father just picked up the toast and ate it, smiling at my mother. Then asked me how my day at school was. I don't remember what I replied that evening, but I vividly remember watching my father spread butter and jam on the toast and eat it bite by bite. When I got up from the table, I heard my mother apologizing to my father for the burnt toast, and I will never forget my father's response. "Dear, I like my toast a bit burnt." Later that night, when I went to say goodnight to my father, I asked him if he really liked his toast burnt. He hugged me and said, "Your mother worked very hard today."
And we shouldn't overlook her efforts because of a small flaw.
In this world, learning to accept each other's imperfections and choosing to embrace each other's differences is the most important secret to creating a healthy, growing, and lasting relationship.
A woman was mad at her husband because he was late coming home again. She decided to leave a note saying, "I've had enough and I'm leaving your ass. Don't bother coming after me." Then she hid under the bed to see his reaction. After a short while, the husband comes home and she could hear him in the kitchen before he comes into the bedroom. She could see him walk towards the dresser and pick up the note. After a few minutes, he wrote something on it before picking up the phone and calling someone. "She's finally gone. Yeah, I know, about time. Get ready, I'm coming to see you. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you." He hung up, grabbed his keys, and left. She heard the car drive off. She came out from under the bed, filled with rage and with tears in her eyes. She grabbed the note to see what he wrote down. It said, "I can see your feet. We're out of bread. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
This story happened in an ordinary American family. There was once a little boy named Timmy. One day, after school, Timmy was playing basketball in the living room and accidentally knocked over a family heirloom vase from the shelf. To cover up the enormous mess he had made, Timmy nervously glued the pieces back together and placed it back where it belonged. However, his careful mother noticed the changes in the vase. Afraid of punishment, Timmy came up with a clever idea and said that a stray cat had jumped in through the window. No matter how hard he tried to shoo it away, the cat jumped around the living room and eventually knocked over the vase on the shelf. His mother knew Timmy was lying. That night, she called him into the study. She took out a chocolate box from the drawer and handed him a piece of chocolate, saying,
"Timmy, this chocolate is for you, because you used your magical imagination to create a cat that can open windows. You'll surely write great detective stories in the future."
Then she gave him another piece of chocolate, adding,
"This chocolate is for your outstanding repair skills. Even though you used glue, the cracks fit almost perfectly. But remember, repairing a vase requires stronger glue and more professional skills. Tomorrow we'll take the vase to an artist and see how they can make a piece of art good as new."
As she spoke, she picked up a third piece of chocolate, saying,
"This last piece of chocolate represents my deep apology. As a mother, I shouldn't have placed the vase in such an easy-to-knock-over place, especially with an active, sports-loving boy at home. I hope you weren't hurt or scared, my sweetie."
Upon hearing this, Timmy's rebellious heart had long flown away. After that day, Timmy never lied again. Whenever he involuntarily thought of lying, those 3 chocolates would immediately come to mind.
In a small village lived 2 brothers with their father, who was an alcoholic. Father was abusive and used to beat both brothers. When both grew up, elder brother became an alcoholic just like his father, whereas younger brother became a successful businessman. Despite being brought up by same father, how come one brother is so successful and other one is alcoholic? This thought used to come in villagers' mind. So, one day some people of village thought of talking to both brothers. First they went to elder brother. They saw that, as usual, he was lying on floor after getting drunk. People helped him get up and sit on chair, and when he got a bit sober, they asked, "Why do you drink so much?" Elder brother answered, "My father was an alcoholic. He often used to beat up both of us. What can you expect after being abused for such long time? I followed my father's footsteps and became same as him. Later they went to meet younger brother. People of village asked him, "You are such a respectable businessman. Everyone admires you. From where do you get such inspiration?" He replied, "My father." Everyone was surprised and asked, "How?" He replied, "My father was an alcoholic and he used to beat us while drunk. I used to watch all this silently, and that's when I decided not to be like him. I have to be decent, respected, and become successful. That is what I became." Upbringing and the challenges we face in life do shape us. But ultimately, our choices and determination play a significant role in who we become. While both brothers grew up in a difficult environment with an abusive, alcoholic father, one chose to break free from that cycle and become successful by using his father's negative example as motivation.
Years ago in Scotland, the Clark family had a dream to travel to the United States with their 9 children. Clark and his wife worked and saved, and finally had enough money and got passports and reservations for the whole family on a new liner to the United States. The entire family was filled with expectation and excitement about life in America. However, 7 days before their departure, the youngest son was bitten by a dog. The doctor sewed up the boy and hung a yellow sheet on the Clarks' front door. Because of the possibility of rabies, they were being separated for 14 days. The family's dreams were dashed. They would not be able to make the trip to America as they had planned. The father shed tears of disappointment and cursed both his son and God for their misfortune. 5 days later, the tragic news spread throughout Scotland. Titanic had sunk. The unsinkable ship had sunk, taking hundreds of lives with it. The Clark family was to have been on that ship, but because the son had been bitten by a dog, they were left behind in Scotland. When Mr. Clark heard the news, he hugged his son and thanked him for saving the family. He thanked God for saving their lives and turning what he felt was a tragedy into a blessing. Although we may not always understand, all things happen for a reason.